And welcome back. This is GB News on TV, DAB, plus digital radio and online. It's 1:37. Now, as the cost of living crisis worsens, people across Britain are making difficult decisions, of course, on how to save money. But something rarely factored in is the cost of data. That's access to the internet via home broadband and indeed smartphones. Seen as one of society's most basic needs, with many aspects of daily life increasingly conducted online, internet access is something it's getting so much harder to live without. But it's not free, of course. And now new research suggests up to 9 in 10 people on low incomes could be forced to give up that vital internet access to afford food, electricity and water bills. That's why an organisation called the National Databank has been set up to donate free data to those in most need. Well, I'm joined now by Helen Milner, OBE. She's Chief Exec of Good Things Foundation. That's a charity that helps set up this National Databank. And Hafshadada Bai Sheikh. She's Director at Smartlyte, a community interest company also working in this area. Helen Milner, let's turn to you first. Just outline the extent of this problem. It's something that won't have crossed the minds of many of our viewers and listeners, the cost of internet access. But those bills are rising, which means they're getting squeezed.
That's right. We know that there are 2 million households across the UK who have no internet, and most of them are struggling with those internet bills. So that's a really big number. And the cost of living crisis is making that even worse. We know that people are experiencing inflation on food, on fuel, and on utilities such as electricity and water. And the pandemic did actually show us all, well, all of those of us who are online, how essential it is. During lockdown, we couldn't do anything without being on the internet. And we now know that children have to do their homework online. If you want a job, you have to apply for that job online. And if you have any benefits, you need to apply for those benefits online and keep in touch online as well. So it's so important. And services were digitized at such a rapid pace during the pandemic that actually it's become the norm for both the public sector and the private sector to think that they can communicate and serve the public online.
Hafshadada Bai Sheikh, tell us how Smartlyte fits in, and tell us the extent to which, if you know that reliance on the internet has risen as more and more services now, you can only really access them online, as Helen was just explaining.
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of services now have gone online, and the way that we have been supporting some of the most deprived and disadvantaged communities, families and individuals in Birmingham and in the area and throughout is by providing them with data which has been gifted via the National Databank, Virgin Media O2 and so many other telco companies. We couldn't do this work without that support. Families are really struggling out there. As we've heard, everything now is online, from booking your GP appointment to everything. Absolutely everything is online, to finding the best bargains, to saving money. Everything is online, and if they can't access online, then they're being left behind.
It's interesting, isn't it, Helen? Do you feel that internet access should be free, like a kind of God-given right, you know, like access to fresh air? Or do you accept it needs to be paid for, these services need to be provided? I mean, what do you think is the future of internet access as we go forward and become increasingly reliant on it, as Hafsh's just explained?
So I think that it's important that everybody gets access to the internet. I don't think it should be free for everybody. But we do know that these 2 million people need help. So that's why we created the National Databank with Virgin Media O2, so that we can help some of them. Around 500,000 people will be helped by the National Databank. But that still leaves 1.5 million people who are excluded and can't afford it. A lot of the broadband providers and mobile operators have got what's called a social tariff. So that means that actually they've got a reduced tariff for people who are on benefits like universal credit, and that's excellent. But eventually, I think there will need to be some kind of subsidy to make sure that everybody has the internet. One thing that's interesting is the internet. So broadband is still 20% VAT. So it's not a utility. It's not treated like utility. So your electricity and your water and your gas is only a 5% VAT bill. So actually, that might be something that we should look at to see if the VAT should be reduced. Maybe not for everybody, maybe for those social tariffs. But the National Databank, working with over 450 local organisations like Smartlyte and Hafshire in Birmingham, that they all are now able to provide free mobile internet data through the O2 vouchers and with other mobile operators. So that's across all 4 nations, and the people on low incomes, adults, so the parents of the children as well as the adults themselves can access this for free, which is amazing. And it's really brilliant that the industry has really stepped up in this way.
Hafshire, I guess you'd agree that for some people, particularly the elderly, even if they've got internet access and you can help them get it or the National Databank can help them to get it, they still find life online very difficult, don't they? They find it's a mystery to them how the internet works. Do you think we're in danger of leaving people behind?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we do the work that we do. And that's why Good Things Foundation and so many other smaller organisations do the work that we do, because we really are trying to fix that digital gap. And not just through providing skills learning, but also through providing devices as well, and also through providing the data. Really, it's like having a car. You need the skills to be able to drive it. Once you have the skills to be able to drive it, you then need to be able to fill it with that incredibly expensive petrol now as well. And that's what we're all trying to do here. That's the work. Children now are going online from the moment that they are babies. And really what we're doing, we're in danger here of saying to those children, as you grow up, yes, you can improve your skills, and of course you will have every support that you need here. But then as soon as you become an adult, guess what? We're going to take the data away. And we can't be doing that. We need to be in a position where everybody is on that even level playing field.
Well, look, this is clearly a really serious issue. I've learned a lot from this discussion today, and I'm really grateful to you both. Helen Milner, OBE of the Good Things Foundation, and indeed Hafshire Dada by Sheikh, Director at Smartlyte. Thanks to both of you for that important discussion on data poverty and the importance of universal internet access, an issue I suspect that we'll return to.